We are Spud and Joey. We are best friends, dads, and realtors. We also head up a running tribe here in Salt Lake City called Run with Mojo. On the weekends, we love exploring new trails and neighborhoods together. We aren't the fastest or the most skilled runners in the world. We're just two slightly out of shape dads that love a good trail run. We love running as much for the opportunity to clear our minds and have a good laugh as we do for the run itself. As runners, we know how mundane running on a treadmill can be. That's why we created the Come Run With Us project. So the next time you're on a treadmill, you'll have a cool trail to explore and a couple of buddies to run with. No matter what time of day or where you are in the world, you can always come run with us.
At that point, I didn't even know that girls and boys were different and that they had different holes. I just want to point that out. Like, I had no idea. Welcome to the Come Run With Us project, which, by the way, we are here to help you on your treadmill. If you're bored, if you're doing something and you just need some activity outside, but you can't go outside, that's what we're here for.
Look, nobody wants to get on a treadmill. Let's be honest. We like running and we do,
we still hate it.
You got to have some entertainment. And I realize there's so much better stuff than us, but if you just need some high energy, one of us is high energy, the other one is very much a realist. If you need that in your life, come on and run with us
right
while
here.
You're on your treadmill. So if you didn't watch last week, go watch it because this is going to make zero sense.
No, we'll intro it okay. Like, so this is Ann's Trail in Draper, Utah. And Ann's Trail has a bajillion different trails off of the Potato Hill
we covered it last
parking
week.
lot, but it's good. So now, what the people have been, let's admit, what the people have been waiting for, if you didn't watch last week, Movies Till We Puke. And if you don't know what Movies Till We Puke is, then you're just an idiot. Sad,
go watch last week and come back
person.
To us.
Okay, so I think it was because I'm trying to think of why we named it that. My dad came up with it because my dad, probably very similar to me when he was my age, he was probably crazy and high energy, and hanging out with his kid was his favorite thing to do. So at least that's what I envisioned. So we would
but they would hang out and do things that Dad wanted to do.
Well, that's
because we were talking. Spud was telling me that.
But I never thought about it that way. Like, I always take my kids to do stuff they want to do every single weekend.
And this is like your most magical thing, by the way.
Yeah, but it was what he wanted to do. Joey.
Spud talked about his dad taking him to some movies at a very young age that were really quite questionable. His first understanding of the mating process was from the movie Species. And if you'll remember, there's a scene where this alien is very attractive alien, mind you, is having sex with a man, and she kills him by sticking her tongue down his throat. And so, as an 8-year-old, I'm sure that was a bit scarring.
I don't think it was that. I got to look up the dates and actually find out when I saw that. But it was...
He's 23.
It was definitely...
Yeah, when did Species come out? Now that we think about it, you probably were a teenager.
I wasn't.
It was mid to late 90s.
Well, no, because I was riding with my dad up north to see a movie, because I couldn't drive yet, and I still wanted to spend time with my dad. And my parents got divorced when I was 12. So I know for a fact it was either right around 11 or 12. Because after that, we didn't go see as many movies because he moved away. And so...
A lot to unpack here.
Yeah, but Movies Till We Puke, I just want to explain it. So we'd go up on like a random Tuesday. He'd take me out of school. We'd clip from the Sunday paper the movies we wanted to go see. And we would take the Sunday paper either with us, clipped it, whatever. And we'd go to different theaters planning different times based on this paper because you couldn't digitally do it.
Movie times up at the paper. Hell yeah.
Right? And so we had to do that, and then we'd go see like 2 or 3 movies. And then if we were at a theater one day and we'd only plan one movie, but we were like, oh, well, Sister Act's playing next. Why don't we go see that? Boom. I remember seeing Sister Act after we'd already seen another movie. I think it was like White Men Can't Jump, which, by the way, says the F word like 1,000 times. And I still remember my dad looking over at me with like this. Are you sure? I'm like, oh yeah, they say it at school, Dad. It's fine. And after like an hour in, I'm like,
there's definitely some adult dialogue that's in that film, that for sure.
And so, anyway, that's where Movies Till We Puke came from, and I loved it. But I swear I've talked about it because we'd go to McDonald's before the movie, so then we couldn't buy movie like popcorn and drinks. And then after I got done with McDonald's, we went to Sizzler because it was like Sizzler's, you know, pretty much the same price. And I swear we talked about how great Sizzler is. But
just in case we didn't.
Yeah. So then we went to Sizzler, did that, and then we'd go to our movie. So we never got popcorn, we never got drinks. And that was my movies till we puke. Now the movies for me that would bounce out as a child.
So yeah, we'll build this out. We were talking about our first kind of banger movie that you know, that really made an impact on you. Mine was the one that, like, you know, I wasn't supposed to watch. I watched it when we went to my Aunt Annie's house in Las Vegas, and we got to go to a Hollywood video.
Oh,
and it was the coolest thing ever.
Oh, man, I remember when Hollywood video, I was like, oh, Blockbuster's going under. Blockbuster's going under. Hollywood is the best.
Well, and this one was amazing. It was on like Tropicana, and yeah, so we go grab this. I remember so vividly everything about this, renting Terminator 2 and taking it back and watching it and thinking it's the coolest shit ever.
That old VHS that just looked so cool. Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, Spud, I don't know if you've dropped your banger movie. You're just number one.
Gosh.
Bangerest memory from child, because everybody has the Home Alone, right? I remember the theater. I was in the Payson Theater when I saw Home Alone. With like,
well, no, I want to do the most scarring, like the one that I should not have watched, that I feel like I watched, and that was a little. So I was over at my friend Dustin's house, and the big kids were watching Ghoulies. Is it Ghoulies or Ghouls? And it's Ghoulies. I think it is.
Not Goonies.
No, it's the one with the little creatures that are in a fun house, and they're like torturing the people that go into this fun house and like murdering them. And I still remember, I had to have been 7 or 8, and all of the like older kids, and we were over here supposed to watch this TV over here, and like, of course,
just you.
And just so
you? What? Where's the etiquette?
I think they were watching, you know, some random, you know, peaceful Disney movie. And then there's a TV over here that's watching, you know, I swear it's Ghoulies. Anyway, I'll look it up. It's in a fun house. And it's, to this day, I've not watched it. However, I can picture in every part of my mind this part where the guy's like laying on a random table, and like there's this thing, and again, it's going off of like a 7-year-old's brain, but like there's like this thing that's like going over him, about to cut him, and you're like, what? And so, let's get that view. And so that was like my most traumatizing. And then I would go with Species was the second, because man, at that point I didn't even know that girls and boys were different and that they had different holes. I just want to point that out. Like, I had no idea. I thought there were only butts.
And you rubbed your butts together.
Sorry, but that's what I thought.
It's time to bomb. So we can't listen, but we can't let the conversation fade, because this is banger. But we also kind of have to rip.
No, I mean those were my two that like just definitely like I will never. And then White Man Can't Jump, obviously, because of just the dialogue and the knowledge I gained of cursing and going, wow, like there is so much more to this than just when you get mad, you yell the B word or the F word or the S word. Like, you can actually turn this into conversation. Like, you can communicate with nothing but curse words. So yeah, I would say those were my 3 that just to this day, I'm like, I haven't watched any of them since, because it's like, it's just too much. Species was on TV one day, and I was like, how is this even possible to just be on TV? And that was like 10 years ago, and I had to hurry and change it because, you know, I didn't want my wife to hear that story and wonder how I even ended up having children. Hello again.
Thanks, Ian.
But yeah, so T2 for you. Is there any others that like would...
T2 is a very positive memory for me.
Well, yeah, no, I know.
That is just, number one is me, my sister Katie, and my brother Ben. Katie barely had her driver's license and was in charge of us while we lived in Las Vegas. So that was a little bit of a different time.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd live in Las Vegas in the summers with my aunt, who was super successful entrepreneur. And she just was an ass kicker. She'd she'd go live in China for 3 months and live in Costa Rica for a year for the hell of it.
Wow.
And she had this condo down there, and me and Ben and Katie worked the summer, all different jobs. I worked at her cleaning company. Katie worked as a nanny, and Ben worked for her boyfriend's landscaping company. And we were all just in charge of getting our ass to work and
oh my gosh,
and doing whatever the hell. Like, I walked to work in Las Vegas.
Yeah, because
I was 10 years old, I think.
Oh my gosh.
And,
can you imagine the amount of trouble any parents would get in if they did that?
Yeah, my parents weren't even in.
You're good.
Yeah, come on up.
Sorry. We don't know the trail etiquette.
No,
we just want you guys to go. Have a good day. Good work.
Okay.
I like how you're like,
look how quickly we've been taken out. But now I get to use that confidence, Yeah.
Because
they definitely know the right, trail etiquette. Oh. Look at them. So now I'm going to do that. If anybody doesn't stop for us,
I'm gonna
be like, we have the right of way. Get out of the way, bro.
We were told by some dude with a loaded jersey.
Talk to the badass looking bikers up there if you're at all curious about any other etiquette things.
I don't know if we should put this on the episode, because what if your parents, get reprimanded for letting you live in Vegas at a 10-year-old, and
it's a different time. Yeah. But yeah, so the Terminator 2 experience for me was just so wonderful. It was like liberating. It was my first kind of taste of something outside of Mills, Utah. No dig on Mills, but
well, yeah, but it was so different. I mean, that's insane to me, because I would have been like, it just shows why you are who you are, with your confidence of being able to handle like random situations like you've been dealing with. Like I would have been so scared I wouldn't have let my parents or my siblings drop me off. I would have been like, no. Like at 10 years old, I was so scared of everything. I wouldn't do anything alone. And I didn't get my first job till I was 16, and I had to get forced because I didn't want it. And my best friend at the time would not stop making fun of me. So I finally went and got a job, but not because I wanted to. And you're working from the age of 10, just walking streets of Vegas.
Oh, no. That was such an amazing, I had my choice of working with my dad for the summer or going to Vegas and working for my aunt. And that was the easier.
Well, that makes sense.
Working at her cleaning company, I was cleaning out vacuums and sweeping floors and shit inside. Like,
yeah,
I was working for my dad. I am out on a brick pile. Yeah. Slinging hod. Yeah.
I mean, it makes a ton of sense. It's just crazy that's, wow. So with that, what is, like, just because I want to know now, because I don't think anything actually could phase you as hard as it phased me. What's the movie that like maybe did like either scared you half to death, or that you just remember being like, oh my gosh, like Titanic, the first time you got to see Rose, when he's drawing her and you're like, what?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Like,
that was a great scene. I wish I wasn't with my 16-year-old girlfriend at the time, who I'm not even sure we had kissed yet. And watching that scene is very provocative. Very provocative moment in my young adult life.
That's so funny.
Yep, went and saw that.
I saw it sitting next to my mother in the Payson Theater, so that was fun.
I saw it in the Payson Theater too.
Yeah, and I remember.
The Payson Theater was this classic, old-fashioned, no steps, just a gentle slant down to the front with very squeaky metal flip-up seat chairs. So very old school, very sticky floors.
And they could only have one movie at a time.
Yeah.
Like there was never ever, and it was always, Like you went to the cool theaters up north if you wanted to see the like legit movies, but that one always had a family friendly, up until Titanic, let's be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a little controversial.
Well, it went out with a banger. That theater was full with Titanic for like 2 months. I think I saw it twice.
I saw it 3 times.
In the Payson Theater.
I saw it 3 times with my mother staring at this woman's boobs going, yep, worth it. Because by that age, I actually was like, oh, wow, this is kind of cool. Whereas the age of Species was, I'm scared. I don't understand.
So I'll touch on this briefly, then we got to move on because it is heavy. But the movie that wrecked me in a very negative way, just, yeah, really wrecked me. It was not from my childhood, but from my teenage years. And at the local Legends house, Robbie, he put on a rented tape called The Faces of Death.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, don't even. It's just a bunch of real life actual footage of people dying.
Oh, I do. Dude, I remember people talking. That went around Nephi for a while.
Yeah, it's just sickening.
I never watched it, but I think it's because I think it was because of my anxiety and fear that I was like,
be glad. I haven't watched the whole thing. I maybe watched 7 minutes of it and it scarred me. It's honestly the reason I never watched Two Girls, One Cup. Because I knew.
Oh, good job.
I knew.
Good job.
It would never.
Yep, it never
leave
leaves your
my
mind.
brain.
I definitely.
Just me imagining what it is.
I went into that for about 30 seconds. Why? Why did I do this? Why did everybody say just you got to see it? No, don't do it. It's not worth it. And it was just gross crap.
Yeah. So that's the one that when you were talking about just horror
that popped into your brain,
that raced into my frontal lobe. I actually don't know if that's what it is.
You have to admit though, like the stuff that sticks with you, like it makes me, like I'm already nervous about Lucy because
here, take this for a bet, would you?
I've let her watch multiple.
Man, I'll tell you what, it didn't take you long to remember how much you liked me recording and you just running free as a bird. No.
That's why I asked.
No.
You can't expect me to just remember, you know?
I know, but please don't let the bit die because you're trying to be a great person.
No, I'm just saying.
Keep the bit alive.
Yeah, Joey, you record, you SOB.
Yeah. I realize that my material's getting a little dated at this point since I've been using it for hundreds of hours.
It's good.
You got to help me, ease into the cold swimming pool.
Okay.
Dang.
Well, be ready for some real crappy footage because Spud's on the thing. Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Even straight up. Oh, actually, I'm not going to tell you what I just did with the camera. You are going to have to go back and watch.
No, because, if we're going as per the bit, I already know what you did with the camera. And that's messing it all up.
Do it with your hands. Do it with your hands. Let me see if it really is what I did. Yeah, that's it.
I'm going to pan.
Hey, I did watch.
We're getting lost, aren't we?
No, this is it.
Oh, that's a downhill mountain bike track.
What?
I feel like we have to. I know we're not supposed to. Let's get up here early. Let's get up here early and let's run it.
Okay.
Because I gotta film Spud doing a mountain bike course on his feet.
So that I break something. Like, if we need an episode to break something, let's do that.
If anybody's going to go down hard, it's you.
Oh, 100%.
You do this. You do the jumps. I'm not calling you clumsy.
Well, no, but I do watch.
You run a little more flamboyantly than I do.
Yeah, I do watch when the 2 times I've recorded you, I've watched where you're in front of me, and I watch your foot placement and how smart you are, and how well, you do it. And then I watch my feet just bouncing. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess. But it's just, it makes me really happy I can't help
You
it.
have a good like little hip sway. You kind of like do this hip sway thing. It is efficient. I think you like.
I'm gonna have to watch. I didn't know I did a hip sway.
One time I saw myself on an elliptical in a mirror, and it wrecked me. It was so like.
And you're like, never again, never again.
Was into this thing, and I looked and saw myself in the mirror. I was like, oh, like I cannot be that.
And then you started like gripping it as hard as you could, so it looked like your were going. And yeah, we're not self-conscious at all. Man,
look at these views.
I just can't. I was out running with I think it was Lyle one time, and we were running and just bouncing and jumping and doing that stuff. And Lyle's been the only person that picked up on that and went, well, I'm gonna try that. And man, he got so good for about 4 seconds and then sprained the ankle. And I felt so bad because he hits a rock and you hear this like pop. And you're like, oh, maybe your ankle is, maybe they haven't done this for long enough, so don't do that. And he had to finish like I think 8 more miles with like an ankle that he just went pop. So, you know, maybe I should put a disclaimer, don't try that at home unless you build up some ankle strength, right?
I was talking to my business partner yesterday, and I was telling her how much it stresses me out to see girls gymnastics do the balance beam.
Oh, yeah.
It's so stressful for me. I cannot watch it. I know they're amazing at what they do, but just the consequences are so high for a mistake on that piece of equipment. And it's always made me nervous. And my business partner was like, I just can't understand how that would make you nervous. I don't get it at all, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And she says, you know what makes me nervous is watching people walk around in tall, high heels. And because they could roll their ankle. I was like, okay. Imagine for a moment that person has to do a backflip off of something. And
so there's a lot more space between them and the ground.
Do a backflip in those hills and land a very skinny thing. Let's not even put you up in the air. Like, yeah, it's like, how could that stress you out, but not watching girls on the balance beam?
I mean,
so then I threw a drink in her face and I was stormed out of the place.
Of course you did. Because he gets very angry when you don't have the same opinion as he. Hey,
well, that's just because I know that if you don't think just like me, you're an and you're wrong.
Oh, which by the way, you can't say that I word on our episodes.
How come?
It triggers Katie. So yeah, you're gonna have to quit doing that.
That's a thing?
Yeah, 100%.
When have I ever used that before?
Oh yeah, no, I just heard it for probably the first time. I'm just letting you know that's a trigger word, you know, for her. So I'm just, you know, edit that out, Chuck. Which is, you know.
Help the listening audience feel safer right now, just like help me feel safer, because I don't know if there's a real, just expound on what you're.
So I don't know what happened, but I guess someone in her family used to call people that word. And to this day, her sisters, if they hear that word, they instantly get angry or sad or like really weird. And you're like, okay, like there's a new song that just came out and it has that word in it. And yes, I'm trying really hard not to say it because if she watches this, I don't want her to be like, oh, he did it. But like, it's that bad. Like you could use any word in the dictionary, even some of like the brutal cuss words wouldn't affect them. But you say that word and it is like next level anxiety.
And do you think that maybe some exposure therapy to that would be healthy and we do it?
So
because
what I would recommend,
that's a phobia. That's not a healthy thing, right? It's a simple word.
Yeah, so what I would do is it's called EMDR therapy. Anybody suffering from that should look into EMDR therapy, which is good for some past trauma that you can't deal with, past trauma that you can't handle. Like I had to do that for my little girl that got adopted when I was like 18 years old. Like I just must not have processed it well. And so anytime I was around babies, I was really anxious. I felt guilty. I felt horrible. When I had my own children, I felt guilty. I felt horrible. And, you know, not deserving of children and stuff. And if it wasn't for EMDR therapy.
Bro, you can't, I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah. That's a hard topic to just breeze over.
Oh no, I'm breezing it because I'm just letting, like, that's just what I would do. That's all. I'm helping people. They don't need to know more. I mean, unless they do, I can talk more. I got days of that.
Well, let's get back to the thing that got us on this. Is this like a, you know, I don't know. What if a fan wrote to the show and said that the word "the" triggered them? Like, could we stop using it? And I'm fine with not using it. I'm fine with that.
Oh yeah. But, well, no, I'm not saying like we don't have to not use things. I'm just saying like, you know, like it was just like a thing that just popped out because I guess I'm so scared of using that word. So, but no, you shouldn't. Freedom of what is that thing on the Constitution? It's like free speech or something. Yeah. So you say whatever you want to say.
I don't want to be insensitive.
Well, yeah, but there's also like a point where
I'm trying to figure out the adult way to deal with the information you just gave me.
Well, so the problem is, and this is a weird opinion I have about the world, but I kind of don't think it's really fair how many people are like, hey, you can't do this because it triggers me, or hey, you can't do that because it's, you know, it triggers me. And I look at it like, if you don't, it's all about how you react to things. And unfortunately, if that makes you uncomfortable, you either got to not be around it, because we can't change people. We can't change who they are, what they do. If they are that person, I kind of have a firm belief of like, now if you tell someone and they didn't know about that and they're like, oh, heck yeah, I would be fine with, you know, not doing that. Morning. Thanks. And like they truly didn't know, you know, and they truly want to like not do that to help you, all about that. But like you shouldn't make people change because of like that word affecting you and being the thing. But that's just like, I don't know, that's a very weird, broad thing. So I guess I would say, if you want to continue to use it, you're great to do it because it's fine.
Look, I'm fine with somebody going to somebody and saying, hey, like, there's this thing. I'd love for us to be able to work on together. I'm trying to work through something. When we get in the habit of blaming people and we become this blame culture,
yeah,
like, and we don't have to take responsibility for not dealing with whatever it is that's triggering somebody on a very harmless word.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Like, yeah. If you can't just sit there for the rest of your life and be like, never use that word around me because it triggers me. You have to actually put in the work to find out why that's triggering you.
And
so
I do 100% agree with that, because
and if you're putting in that work and you're working on it and you go to somebody and say, hey, I'm working on this, it's a silly thing, but could you try not to use that around me until I get to a better place with
100%.
it? Like, you know, so don't put it on me like I should have been a mind reader or been able to see the future and know that something very simple and innocent on my part was going to affect you so much.
Yeah. Well, and also,
you know, when you could have just told me, you know, and like figured out how we can work on this together. Yeah. So
I feel like communication is key in those instances.
In everything.
And I think that's why a lot of people have serious issues with other people, is because they don't tell them about that thing that kind of drives them batshit crazy about that person. Like in a marriage, well, you need them to do those things because you've made this opinion, you've made this narrative, and you need them to continue doing it so that they can continue proving you right. Yeah.
We've talked about this a ton.
Yeah, because of anatomy of peace and leadership and self-deception. Yeah, but yeah, it is crucial to be able to communicate that. Like, I don't know if I ever told you about.
And just saying, don't do that. This is on you. You're triggering me by using that. That's
battery's gonna die any second now. So let's peace out.
Okay.
We love y'all.
What a hanger.
Yeah.
What are we on?
10%, but the other day when I was on here, it died at 11. So it's gonna die any second. So we love you, appreciate you.
Thanks for coming on around with us. How long's our episode?
28 minutes and 53 seconds.
It'll have to do.
How about this? We sign off here, but then what we're gonna do is we're gonna film just some of the trail until it dies. And
If it goes longer,
Yeah.
it goes longer.
And then that
I love
way
it.
you guys don't have to worry, but at the same time.
But can we talk though at that point?
Yeah.
Because we are close. That's the tunnel where we're parked.
Well, yeah,
so.
let's just not talk about anything like important. Let's just talk about like.
So just keep it status quo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We do talk about important things sometimes.
I feel like what we just talked about was pretty important, and I feel like in a weird way we somewhat communicated it well.
Oh, we did really well. Like, because I told you something that you know, if you were not as emotionally mature as you are right now, or had me out of the box, you could have got very offended right there and said, F that. Like, why are you telling me what to do? Why are you telling me what to say? Like, that's stupid.
I still thought that.
Well, yeah, but you're emotionally mature enough to communicate and talk about it and get through it in a way like grown-ups. And that's why you and I have been working on ourselves for so long, is to get better at that, because I'm the same way. Like, I instantly used to get so angry and mad, and I still do, because I think there's some therapy that needs to be done, but it's okay.
You know, sometimes you and I think, and I know people might see this as not true or whatever, but I think you and I take responsibility too often of the time. You know, I think that's one of the things that we do where a lot of people in this blame culture, like, you're doing this to trigger me, you're affecting me, blaming you. I think one of the things you and I need to work on is saying, oh no, this is on us, we need to deal with it. And we manifest that in different ways. I do it in business where I take criticism I change it, like, well, we got to fix everything right now, you know, because one person said this one thing, we got to change everything, spend all the money, fix it, you know, like, it's like.
And you're like, oh, actually, maybe we should have just like
weathered that storm.
Yeah.
Like, not been so
and also
quick to take responsibility for it. And maybe this is on that. Maybe that person is unwell and is dealing with some emotional things, and they're blaming because, you know, hurt people hurt people.
Yep.
And so, like,
no, and I agree, because I
think you and I are learning that also.
But I also take a lot of, like, I do always do, not always, but every now and then I will definitely be like, okay, yeah, that's all my fault. When it's like, you know, there's usually multiple people in situations, and I need to remember that I'm not 100% to blame.
Well, you're the person that always fills in the gaps.
Yeah.
No, I'll take care of that. No, it's fine if we meet later. No, like, I'll change everything to accommodate, you know, and that's, in a lot of ways,
that's not healthy.
That taking responsibility for something that maybe you shouldn't, you know?
Yeah. Well, and
go ahead.
I just think that's something we can work on, and I like that you brought that up, because it reminded me of many little things that I do sometimes that I need to not do.
I've recently gone through a pretty reflective patch in my life, and it's I'm still every single day, all day, blaming, constantly, like, you know, creating, you know, replaying scenarios in my head where I'm right, the other person's wrong, you know, just constant. It's a constant battle. It's a constant effing battle, and I lose it most of the time.
Well, but at least you know what it is and what you're working on. I think that's important.